Hello and welcome. I'm Shadow of Shadow Gaming, bringing you Programming with Shadow, episode number 42. In today's lesson, we're going to be cleaning up a little more, maybe moving toward finishing up the project. But I think there are probably going to be two more, so we'll just hop on in and get started. We have several to dos. I think we're going to try to address this one first. So right now we've got this is being used to display information. So what we're using it to display error lines of error simulation. If I pause it, I'm using it to display these lines. Let's make sure that's right. So here I get the windows. Yeah, and this is adding the actual number. Windows are one color, the other is the other. Okay. So I think we can do a little better than this. So right now we have to be concerned with logic here that shouldn't matter. Like we have to know the longest count so we can do the lines here. Probably get around that, not have to actually do that, but that's how we're doing it for now. Let's see. Let's look at that method. Oh, right here. All right. So yeah. So it's just grabbing whichever line has the most in it. So let's do a. I'm not going to do a public, or I'm not going to do a console write line. So what we're going to do is we're going to return a string. So we'll say public string. What would be a good name? Um, registrants and line maybe. Something to that effect maybe, and we'll do a string builder sp equals new. We'll return sp.toString. I think something like that'll work. So I'm not worrying about the color here. So we'll do this in two parts. So we'll get registrant. Let's say IDs, and that's what those really are, just the IDs. So let's just do it here. So we need the longest line. Find longest count. So there we go. Then we just need to do some looping. So for int I equals 0, I less than longest line, I plus plus. Then we wait a minute. What am I doing there? I'm displaying it line by line. So we'll grab the or so we grab the I think I might be doing something dumb here to begin with. So what I think I'm doing here is I'm going through each one of these. Let's put a breakpoint. Let's see what I'm actually thinking. So what I think, looking at this, so we clear the line. We output a tab. Yeah, and then put the number and then do the tab. That gets a row. Then we output that line, we clear it, get the next row. We're doing it like that. Okay. So yeah, so I think we can do the better than this in general. Let's see if we can. Let's see. We'll hit the breakpoint just to show what I was wanting to say, but I think this is correct. So the line here. Oh, it'll show up over here. So let's see. So right now we have this. We press F10 over that, and there we printed one value. Oh yeah, we're way early. Let's hit this a couple times. Let's see, what does this look like? Put the breakpoint. There's just a little more. So let's see. Next path we get through, and now we have that. You can't. These are numbers. They're sets of 4, but there's a tab in between them, but it doesn't show tabs. If there's a way I can show that. Probably not a good way, but yeah, not really. So there's tabs there. We can tell by how they end up outputting. Let's skip through a little more and let's see if we can get a bigger one. We'll hide that window. Eat it. Let's see if that's a bigger set. Yeah, there we go. All right. So when we run through again, it looks like that. So there's 4 in the first 3 and 3 in the rest. Now if we go again, now that's 2. If we go again, we got the 3rd row. One's missing. If we go again, now we got the 4th row. That's how we're building it up. So that's probably not the best way to build it up. We should be able to do it all at once. Let's see if we can't do that. So right now I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and each time it's looping through. I think we can do better than that. Let's give it a try. So 4 longest line. That left. Let's see. Okay, so we're at okay. This gets us right back to the registrant numbers. Let's remind myself of that. We're just grabbing a list. Let's see. Where is this? Um, Interesting. So all it's doing is just getting all the registrant values for each. Go back over to here. let's see. We'll start by, let's just copy for the moment. Yeah, just copy for the moment. Just trying to make sure this is what I want to do. Called it SB for string builder. Registration goes. Start to list. So that's one of the link extension methods, but we'll go with it. Number of windows, and I think that has it. So let's make that adjustment. So now we should be able to say or say string display of queues equals registration area dot get registration IDs online. This should be this. There's going to be a problem. So we'll do display of queue. Problem is that when we do this, we need to add a new line here, just like we were doing there. Here we'll say sb.append line. If that, I think that'll do it. But now let's see if this matches. So this should do what we already have, but it does not. Okay. So that's because of the, yeah. Look at this. Now this is going to make it one big line, so this isn't going to work either. Oh no, that worked. What? Let me see. Let's get off of this and we'll review why that this is works, because I think it should. Or they're actually, yeah. I was gonna say I'm not sure they're actually lowering, but yeah, there they go. Okay, so that actually worked. I'm a little surprised, but I guess it makes sense. So why it makes sense? So what I thought was happening was we were going to append everything together. So this only loops through the window, so it goes through each window and hits the first position at each window. So, or not first, but whatever position I's at. So I's counting down the rows, J is counting across. So maybe instead of I, maybe we say F2 and rows. For J, we say columns. Maybe that'll be a little clearer to me. F2 cols. And we'll leave that for the moment. What this is doing is we're just pending number if it exists. What we should be able to say here instead look at window, just window, do we allow going across? We should. I might leave that actually. What I was going to say is, or do we give away to go loop over this? But since it's a queue, you probably shouldn't be accessing all the members. That probably makes sense not to do. Yeah, never mind. We won't worry about what I was thinking. But yeah, so now we can remove this. Go ahead and remove this. Technically, we can move that if we want, but I'm going to separate so it fits on the line. Remove this. Let's make this side bigger because we're going to be over here. We have another to do. Check if we can do this as an IE enumerable. So let's see. So first thing to do, we'll do that. This is a var. I'll say this gets the count method. And registration. Yeah, that's not going to work. This isn't going to work because as you're going through the IEnumerable, you don't want to be accessing it across like that. You want to access each member one after the other. That's not how I'm going going across rather than down. So might not be a good fix for that because technically you could make the string go down and then build it up as you go across. That doesn't feel nice to me though because when you do that, I say that doesn't feel nice. Wait a minute. I'm having thoughts. Maybe we could just put this into an array. I don't know if I like that either, though. I think let's go back. We'll restore this to a list. We'll go ahead and remove that. Let's follow this one. So control dot. So, oh wait a minute. No, I don't know about that. Where's the other one? Dot. Oh, it went away. Never mind. There's the same syntax, so maybe we'll do that. So I'm converting it to a list. This is doing the same thing. So when it does the to list, you have to go through each value, and it goes through each value in the enumerable and adds it to a list. Is what it's really doing. This does the same thing. So I actually don't know what that's called. In some languages, it's a spread operator. I actually don't know if it is in C#. I'll not try to remember. Check that and leave that in the description. But that's all this is doing. It takes the numbers and puts them into a list. I'll leave that, but I don't know if I like that. I think I actually like the to list. I don't think that you're going to get any. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, we won't worry about that. So with the data structure that I've built up here, I think this is about as efficient. So this isn't very efficient at all. So there's a one layer, two layers, and there's a third layer. This one's going down, so it's going the length of the longest cube. This one's going a constant across, so that each however number of windows, so it wouldn't be affected. This one, on the other hand, is going back down, so it goes double. So we mentioned big O notation, so into the second, I believe. This is saying for however long the data is, we have to go, or we have to traverse it twice, or two times, or it's double the length basically. And that makes sense from the structure. If we do it as a 2D array, it looks like a grid as well. So that's the structure that we're coming to in this. There's probably a way we could get around that if I thought about it hard enough, but for now, I think this is going to do it for our simulation. I think we'll just leave it. So there's just another method, a get registrant. Let's come up here and let's do the same thing. We'll do a public string get window display header. We'll do that. We'll just come here and we'll say this string builder output equals new return output line dot to string. We'll do it like that. So we're not saving anything. So my comment about check the performance of this, not a good or we're not fixing anything here, so sort of a waste of time. Do registration area dot get window display. Now we can close this. Now a lot of that logic's no longer there. Let's run that, make sure it works. I think it will. I made it a little more fluid, I think, so it's not rebuilding the lines each time. Maybe. Looks a little flashy down here. Let's finish. Here we go, and we're out. Right, so there, we moved some of the logic, so necessary value. Oh, we no longer even use a string builder here. We can remove that. Right. Nothing breaks, right? Okay. Now let's turn our attention back over here. So now this one I said I don't think I want to expose is gone. We no longer need it. That's not the only benefit though. Where's the find longest? So now this is only used internally in the this method and in a test. Now we make this private. Now the test fails, so we do need to go adjust that. It's an easy adjustment because it's not a thing now. That does mean we have more internal logic. So let's move the testing. So let's see. So now we need to do these two methods. So display header looks like an easy enough test. So let's start with it. So we'll start with the fact. Let's do it as a theory. start with theory, inline data. Data looks like this, 0, that. Inline data, 1. Now it looks like a /t, w, 1. Now it's 7. W2. /t, w3 /t w4 /t /t w5 /t w6 and /t w7. We'll do that. So that's the expected string and then the input. So public void get window display header returns expected header. So we'll do int number of windows string expected. Right, so let's see. Now we'll do a registration area. System under test equals new. Number of windows. Convention registration dot default expected registration. Go. So here we expect we'll do string result equals dot get display window header. Insert. Call that actual instead of result. Actual. I think that'll work. So let's see if I got my syntax right. Did not. Let's see what I messed up. Strings different. That's unfortunate. Thought I got it first try. Yeah. Alright, so there's just a test for that. This one's a little more complex, but not a ton. Let's see. We do something like that. This one's a little harder, but the reason it's harder is because it's tables. We'll give it a try. I'm not sure I can get it right, so we'll see. We'll do the same thing here. These values here, but I'll have to change the values. Public void get registrant IDs inline returns expected table. Int number of windows string expected. Here, not here, instead of number of windows, this will be number of guests. Number of registrants. Now let's see. Let's do const int number of windows equals 7. We'll do it like that. Now for var I equals 0, I less than number of registrants plus so sup dot handle event, new event, arrival, date time dot now, ID, we'll just say I plus 1. So there we go. Add the number of registrants. And then string actual equals dot get registrants in line. Third equals. Let's take a look. So 0 should be, there should be an empty string, right? No, it should be 7 tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see if that one works first. Did not work. Strings differ. Was empty. Number of windows. Oh, longest row is 0. Okay. But empty. So yeah. So no guests. 1. Okay, that looks right. Just an ID. So what we can do there. So the /r/n. I don't think we can do this. Let's see. Yeah, it must be a constant expression, a type of expression, or array. But we can't put this because it's runtime, so we don't know when it'll run. What we can do instead, we'll say 0001. We can just say /r/n, and that should. In the end, that makes sense for the value, so that makes sense. This one should be 0001, 0002, and so forth. Let's fill that out. /r/n. That should work. Why didn't that run? Yeah, there we go. Let's add another one. Let's add a more complex one. Let's say do one longer one. Let's say 22. Reason for 22, we get to do this. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and then we'll have one more. But this last one won't have anything in it. This one will be empty. This one will be empty. This one will be empty. 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 And this one gets a 20. This one's an 8, 9, 10. Wait a minute. This one is an 8, 9. I didn't get too far in that. 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Good. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Let's see if that one works. That's a much more complex case. I think that'll be right. Yep. There we go. So I think that's doing how we want it to. See what happens if number of windows is empty. So if it's empty, we should just get an empty. Public void get registrant IDs in line returns empty string when there are no windows. And this one's a fact. Const int number of windows equals 0. We'll copy this. And insert dot equals empty string insert dot get registrants in line. Okay, we'll split that out just because we've been. And we'll fix the magic string there. Const string expected equals that. I think we should have a green one here. Do not. So let's see what's happened there. Sequence contain no elements. That comes down to this. So there. Okay, so easy. So if number of windows is less than 1, throw new invalid operation error. Number of windows was not a positive integer. There, that takes care of it the other way. So now we can say void a how the syntax. Where is the syntax? Getting the there. So var ex equals assert throw invalid operation a. Assert equals message no. Expected is now that should get rid of that case altogether. Good. So what we can do now, this is internal. In fact, this is the only use of it. Rather than do that, let's just do it. I know I like the self-documentation better. Never mind. Well, instead, let's do this. I think it can be static as well. Now it uses registration window right there. Never mind. So yeah, I actually like that better. So that, although I can figure out what's happening, you're looking for the max line. on longest queue of find count of longest queue. I think that'll read a little better in the long run. So there we go. I think that's a little clearer. I feel like that's decent testing. Like we could do more. Wonder what happens there if there's no number of windows. So do that. We already do that. Yeah, so maybe that's actually all right. There we go. Covered that. Cover this. So I have one more to do down here for duration. Let's cover it. So we need to check that we actually set the duration. So a couple ways you could do that. We could do them separate. We could do them here. Problem with this one was it does this. So we do a negative exponent. So to fix that, way to do that is we could come up here to the distributions, not the distribution tests, to the distributions. So what we could do is we could pass in, there has an overload here that takes a seed. There. Seed. The idea with a seed is it gives you a way to always get the same output, and that's how you would be able to actually test. Because I gave that as this is a static class, though, I don't think I can do that. Let's see, can I have a constructor? Yeah. Public static distributions int seed. Yeah. So as of how we've done that, where I've done it as a static class that you just call the methods, we couldn't do that. So what we will have to do there, if we want to do it, is move this to a non-static class, instantiate it, and then we can do what I'm trying to do. Which may be all right. Without doing that, though, the distribution here is random. That means these values will be different. We could check that they're non-zero, but I don't think there's anything else we can do. Let's see. Do multiple tests, registration area, convention simulation. Those are the three usages. So that's actually not that many usages. We got time. We'll go ahead and do it. We'll remove that. We'll do a CTOR int string or seed. So RNG equals new. Passing in seed. Be static now. I mean, this can't be static. This can't be static. And this can't be static. But now we have a constant values. Use a primary constructor. Control dot. We'll use a primary constructor. I think that actually makes sense and is readable here. Alright, so now we're going to have to go clean up. So here, so registration area. So now we need to do something. We need to be able to get something in here and control the seed. So the way to do that is pass it into constructor. So we will need distributions. I'll do it up here. So private, read only, distributions. So here, we'll say distributions equals, do it like this. We'll say that. We'll say this. We'll leave it like that. So we will do it like that. So we'll pass in a distribution here. That means this now needs to be underscore distributions. That should fix that. Come over here to distribution test. This should be broken. Yeah. We'll need to adjust this. I just did. Lock that back in place. But yeah, let's run this. So let's see. So distribution system under test equals new. We won't pass in a value there. Let's do it like this. Let's pass in null. Go back over here. So when we pass in a seed, it's either this or we need to go away from the constructor. Wait a minute. Public distributions int seed. If seed has value, why did it add? So if seed has a value, then RNG equals new seed value. Else Copilot's not helping me today, or whatever's changed. It updated and it feels worse again. So there. So now we'll say for debugging purposes we can pass it a seed, else we don't. And if we don't pass it a seed, it'll just use whatever it had before. So that's important for some of our other usages. Here, get uniform, get Poisson. Here we need to pass in a that gets a little harder because now we're going to need to pass in a new one in here. So we'll say private read only distributions. We'll say that. Now equals new distributions. So if we want to be able to pass in a seed, or I want to be able to do that. To be able to test some of the methods, I would need to do. I don't think so. We've not been testing anything here. Maybe I don't care. No. Let's see. That means we can't test this run simulation, but there's a lot of stuff there that I don't want us to deal with testing. You can test console app output, but again, it's random, so it's hard. I'll think about that. We may not do that. This may be about the extent of our testing. There, we got us a distribution though, so now let's see what else fails. There should be some tests that fail. Yeah, all these. We'll say distributions equals new. For ones we don't care, we can just do this. Then we can just say distributions. Do it this. Then we'll have to actually test the ones we care about. So my key presses here, by the way, I'm doing Control V, the copy. Then I'm just coming here, and you can see it starts to give a highlight, and then I'm literally pressing Tab. So that's whatever their IntelliSense is doing. It's doing a pretty good job, but I think it's Copilot, but at the same time, I haven't signed in, so maybe not. But it's doing a decent job. Except right there. Alright, let's see what other failures are. So we can go look, but about as easy just to do that. This needs to be switched now. If we rebuild, go on. We didn't create one. There we go. I think that'll be all the errors. Alright, let's run all the tests. All the tests still run green, so good. We didn't break anything with a refactor just then. So let's go back over to our tests now for the convention registration. My thought is... No, not convention registration area. There we go. My thought is that we can, for these handle events, so now we have access, so what we can do is we can say, give it some numbers, so we'll just say 1, 2, 3. Oh. Let's put a breakpoint. Let's see what's happening here. So, trying to decide if this one should actually hit these durations and update them. I think it should. Run this test. We look at this. System under. Sorry. We look at system under test. Shortest duration set, longest duration set. Okay. It should always be that. So let's say this. Assert dot don't know if this will work. Let's see which one this is. Date time dot equals I don't think equals does it, so we'll start with it, but I think it's not equals. So we'll say new date time. We'll pass in the same information here. So 0, 0, 0. Hours, so 0, 2, sit dot longest duration. Yes, longest duration. Equal. Oh, and it's a time span. Oh, that makes more sense. New time span. 0, 0, or 0, 2, 6. Okay, that does work. Interesting. So now we can just copy that and say this, and we'll say shortest there. So we made sure both of those are set. So, and then we can also do assert dot equal. Don't pick the old one. Time span 0 to 56. Assert dot total duration. So let's see if all those work. So yeah, so those are being set. So what I'm going to do, instead of doing them here, let's do it like this. So we'll cut. That last cut. Handle event updates time spans. So there. We don't actually care about that one, but we do care about this one. Let's run this now. And because of the seed, notice we're getting the same randomness each time. Here, remove that. Now this one doesn't. So now that one's back to how it was. Now we shouldn't see any failures, and those are now working. Let's see what happens if we add another person, though. So let's do another event. We'll see ID plus 1. Now I expect the 2 of these to fail. They did not. Interesting. That one's actually interesting. I'd expected a little more there. Let's put a breakpoint. Let's check. What I was expecting was to get 3 different entries there, and we could see what they were. It did not work like that. That was vicious. Count of arrivals is 4, which is wrong. Longest, they're all the same. Look at the queue, I guess. registration windows. Oh, we need to handle the departure. All right, so now it fails. And it fails on line 71, so longest is no longer the longest. Now there's one that's 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so that worked. That makes sense. So what's happening there is that the total is longer too. So the reason that didn't work is when we do the add registrants, handle arrivals, we don't actually or schedule them until they act, except the first one, and while there's still someone in the position. So that's what happened. Let's check one more thing. So let's debug one more time. So number of arrivals is 4. Why is that? Count of arrivals is 0. Let's put a breakpoint there. Just run that again. Debug. Count of arrivals is 0. 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Yeah, being dumb here. Now we can even get rid of result. There we go. It was adding 4, so that was correct. Time spans are now wrong though because we didn't do that, so now it makes sense. So I thought that was a little high, but I haven't put it together yet. Now it does what we think. So we add 3 and we're counting up the duration, so all the duration handling seems to be. So there, that opens us up. We have distributions, so what we could do is we can now test these since we could pass in a default value. So again, my test isn't going to be anything impressive though. It's going to be add some values and see what we get and make sure it stays that. So I don't really know that there's a lot of value in that. Either way, our time is up. Let's do a quick search for to do. Consider turning off intercept. I think that's just a false. So this one, what I'm asking for there is here. You can see there's a little one that shows up very quickly. We just say false here. See what happens. Yeah, I think that does it. So I think that's an easy one. Do consider trapping. So we still. No, I'm not going to do that one. So we move that. Make these show the current value rather than the default. So that one's tricky. No, we could do that one, but we're gonna have to change how we're doing the menu. No, I feel like we've reached where I wanted to go with this, so I don't feel like we. I feel like okay, so that's all the to dos. Good. So yeah, so I feel like we're about done with the convention registration actually, which is a good thing because we've been at it for a while, but I feel like I've covered a bunch of different topics. So over. I feel like this is a decent stopping point for the project. So that. So what we've put together is our registration simulation. So it's just a little simulation for a queuing system, basically. So we played around with setting up a menu, played around with a little bit of randomness. We've looked at some new features. Not that one. It's in program mate. Yeah, passing around methods. We looked around at that. We looked at unit testing. We've done actually quite a bit of testing and refactoring. Made stuff a little more object oriented. Like we could still do better. Like I'm pretty sure some of this stuff should not be there. Is we moved around a little more as well. I say that, but then at the same time, all the ones I'm looking at here this is probably where they belong. But we've done an all right job. So taking it from not testable to testable, and I feel pretty happy with the code in general. Like there's some stuff I would change. I would probably go ahead and test the distributions, even though they're not going to be a good test. I think I would still actually probably do that. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I feel like we did a pretty good job here. So again, it's been a while, so that is from 28 to 42, so 14 episodes. So yeah, so I feel like that's a good stopping point. So maybe for next time, maybe we'll no longer be working on the simulation. We'll be doing something else. So I will think about it, see if there's something else I would want to cover on this, but I feel like this is pretty much what I wanted to cover. And I feel decently happy with the result. So yeah, we'll stop there then. So this has been the refactoring conclusion. So next time we may be into another topic altogether, or maybe maybe we'll start looking at LANC, or I may need one. I may need just a little more time on it, so we may have some. I may see if I can put up some other topic, but we'll see what happens next time. So we'll call it there. So thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.